Welcome to the moment. It's so hot. It's so messy.
Clean. Can you imagine if we called ourselves Hot Clean Moments? But we were like we actually reviewed scriptures from the Bible. Hot Clean Moments.
What? Why?
Or we review sexy maid cafes. So we're Hot Clean Moments.
I have to bring you into what just happened to me while you were talking.
Okay.
Right before
You're like, I wasn't listening.
I was not listening. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, Dylan. I've been working all night. I just got home. I got pasta delivered to me because I was like, bitch, I need some carbs that's going to put me to sleep after I'm done with Hot Mess Moments. I ordered a broccoli Alfredo. I haven't had Alfredo in like forever. It tasted delicious. I just went like this and was like, why is this wet? Bitch, I have pasta right here.
You got pasta on your titties.
It looks like a little ribbon. Like
I thought it was. I was like, maybe they gave it to you and eat it. Yes.
But I look at it, like stained my fucking shirt.
Love that.
Oh my God. The level of hot messery.
Yeah, we're eating pasta titties. Or no, we're eating titty pasta.
Titty pasta, baby.
Titty pasta. That's the new boonie hole. Okay,
can I tell you something?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, my friends and I wanted to open up a bar called Hyman. And the first time you told me the story.
I think you've told me the story.
First time you went, you'd be like given everything like cherry flavored. And then every other time after that, if you come to Hyman afterwards, you never get that cherry flavor back.
Yeah, you only get it on your first try or your first.
Like your first day, you'd be like, I'm getting a Dirty Shirley, like a Shirley Temple. That's just like, like the cherry juice and all that kind of stuff. You get like cherry dessert, you get like all that other stuff. But you could never get it again after you come back a second time or more.
I love the commitment to the theme. I hate the terrible business practice.
I know. Everyone's like, can I have the cherry? No, you can't have it.
No, this is your.
You've already been here. What, you think that all of a sudden you can just erase the other time that you were here before? Which is so funny because, like, obviously virginity is based in misogyny, but it is just really funny to me.
Yeah. Actually, virginity, if I'll have you know, is a mythical, magical thing that once you have sex, you can no longer be sacrificed to the gods. So
guess who can still be sacrificed, bitches?
You show up and like there's like the elder gods must sacrifice you, and they sit there and you're like, honey.
honey. I'm sorry, what? Well, here's the thing. Does oral sex count?
I think that's subjective. I would say no. If we're talking about the definition of what we consider cultural virginity, it is penetrative sex.
Correct. Bitches, guess you could be fucking sacrificed. You're a residential ace demisexual bitch right here. Baby!
Sadly, there is a condition here that can't be a whore. So
I'm fucking dying. I love that they're like, I know you've never had penetrative sex, but that fucking mouth has been places. Your hands are dirty in the face and name of God.
I need a horror film where it's a cult that needs to find a virgin, and like the like it's a by the books. No, but listen. It's like a by the books horror film. Okay. But the twist at the end is the virgin is actually a virgin, but there's a condition in the cult book where they can't be a whore. And they're like, you give mad head at your college.
The way that you suck that dick, baby, it is magical.
You literally have an OnlyFans where you only suck dick. Like
you literally had all your teeth removed so that you could just take them dentures out and go to town.
That he's like looking at the other cult members like, Did you not do a background check? Like we literally can't kill her.
Bitch, did I ever tell you when I had a medical procedure done first? First of all, this was like when I was like 29, 30. And so I had a medical guy. It's so funny. The nurse was like, okay, now I don't know if you're aware of this. If you have a uterus, right? Before everything, they always make you pee in a cup so they can make sure that you're not pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So before this surgery, excuse me, I had to pee in a cup. And I thought it'd be funny to say, because clearly I hadn't made it clear to anybody that I had never, it's not that I just hadn't had penetrative sex in a while. It's just like, that was never something I've done. And I still is to this day. I don't really care, whatever, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I say to this woman, if that thing comes back positive, you better call the Pope. And she, I think, just felt like maybe I just hadn't been laid in a while. And she was like, okay. And then when she came back, I had this awkward moment. I was like, I have to explain why that was funny. I've actually never had penetrative sex. And then I realized that you're probably thinking like me as a 30-year-old who's just not been laid in a while. But no, like the fact is, like, so like I'm like explaining it. And then she's like, oh, okay. I came out of sedation. And apparently there's a period in certain kinds of anesthesia where you're conscious, but you're not conscious. Like you're talking and such, but like, it's all blank, right?
Yeah.
I came out of this procedure and apparently she told me, Elizabeth, so we had to call the Pope. And I apparently went, oh no, like really dramatically. And then as I like actually came to, she was like, oh my God, it was so funny. We told you we had to call the Pope. And like, you had this like very like dramatic, like, what are we going to do?
Like, that's very you. That is so Beth on anesthesia. That's peak Beth on anesthesia.
Anesthesia sounds like a really bad drag name.
It really does. Like I would tip, but not $2. Only once.
Not a $2 bill. Oh,
okay,
man.
Let's get into this. Hello, everyone. My name is Dylan Zahner, also known as 8-Bit Dylan. And Lost is my favorite show, but I've never seen The Nanny.
And I'm Beth Dixon, also known as Augusta Wind 11 online. And my all-time favorite show is The Nanny, but I've never seen Lost before. And wow, we have 2 episodes to talk about. We missed it from last week, but whoa.
I think this is the first time that we've had 2 very meh episodes back to back. Like normally it's like one's good and then the other's kind of bad. No, these are 2 like very middle of the road.
They're very middle of the road for 2 very different reasons.
Yes.
I would argue episode 3 is so bad that it's actually entertaining.
Yes.
It's like they way overcorrected to being just horrible to the point where I was laughing so hard that I was interested in the episode.
Agreed.
And because of that, I just like am so excited to talk about both of these episodes.
Yes. So for the sake of time, it's very late for us, and we want to make sure this is concise. So we're going to get right into these episodes. So it's time for us to cover Lost, Season 3, Episodes 3 and 4. We've got Further Instructions and Every Man for Himself. So my favorite part about this episode was when Locke reached into his shirt and pulled out titty pasta and just started eating it.
Girl, I keep thinking, what if there's more pasta on my nips or something? Anybody who has, I should say, anybody who has proportionally sizable breasts.
Big ass titties. Let me just translate that.
I'm going to say proportionally sized. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right word, but like larger breasts where things can get caught. I'm like, there's a whole fucking kernel of popcorn in here. Yes. Let's get
that happens to my balls. Look on your face. Could you imagine? You're like, what the fuck is this doing down here?
Thing. I'm going to eat something that came out of my titties. I ain't going to eat something that came out of my crotch. Because I don't know how long that's been.
Speak for yourself. No.
That's a me thing. And you know what? That is not a shaming thing for anybody at home. If you were doing that, if you were eating popcorn that's been in your crotch for God knows long, you better work.
Absolutely not.
You own that shit. You go on. But guess what? That's not me. I'm not here for that. And that's okay.
Yeah. I would much rather eat titty corn than
titty corn
than cock corn. Yeah.
The cock corn. I don't know.
That's so gross. Cock corn.
Cockhorn sounds like something that would have come out of episode 3 of this.
Oh my God. You are so right. It kind of does.
Episode 3, let's paint the scene.
Worst Locke episode yet.
We have not seen Locke. I was like, that bitch died, and it's gonna be so fucking funny. He didn't die. And instead, he's like, you know what? Let's just do fucking peyote. Let's do this shit and like let me feel the island again. And then my other favorite moment is in the beginning of Dylan and I watching this episode. I see that it says Ian Somerhalder on as like a guest star. And I'm like, oh, Boone!
I actually forgot he was in this.
I was like, Boone's gonna be back, and Dylan's like, no. I think that's just there every episode. And then like literally like not even quite a minute later, Boone shows up and I was like,
Yeah, you sussed that one out. But I truly forgot he was in this episode because I truly forgot this episode existed.
For good reason.
It's so bad. Not even the flashback is good.
This to me felt like an episode that people who were like fans of the series but aren't good writers would write.
Yeah.
Like, this was fanfic, but like fanfic from like a 15-year-old.
You want to know what's
episode was.
Even worse about this is it was written by Carlton Cuse, who is the executive producer for the show.
Well, that says it all. Producers can't write.
Also, a woman wrote this, Elizabeth Sarnoff.
Fucking women can't write. Are you kidding me?
Jesus Christ.
That's not allowed. They're not allowed to like own property and write TV shows. What the fuck?
It's so weird why they thought we're going to take these characters who we have not seen in 2 episodes of season 3, and we're going to make one of the main characters do fucking peyote and also have the most unrealistic interactions between Charlie and Locke after what they just went through, where Charlie's like, oh, I didn't see you. I didn't know where you went, man. I was like, the fucking hatch imploded and you woke up in the middle of the jungle. I would not say, where you been, man?
Also, like, Charlie, I know that you don't like Locke here, but wouldn't your first thoughts also be like, is anybody else? Where's Echo? What's everything?
Yes.
Like, there's none of that. And I'm just like, okay, so that's unrealistic. It's just so weird. It's also like the beach people have no fucking chill at all. They're just like, oh, the hatch, something happened with the hatch. Let's not do a search party because Jack's not here to organize. So let's just like go on with our lives. And then people are just like, oh, hey, there's Locke. Oh, we can't talk. That's so weird. Anyway, can you pass me the starfish? I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like nothing made sense in terms of like what the beach crew should be doing.
Yeah.
Then cut to what I kind of like. It's so fucking bad, Dylan. It's so bad. I will say, okay, so my rating, I haven't given the rating for this episode.
Yeah.
It's so bad that it's entertaining. Ergo, it gets a 3. If it wasn't entertaining, it'd be a 1 for like hardcore.
I'm going to let you know right now, there will be more episodes like that in season 3 where they're so bad. You're like, this, I kind of enjoyed that.
Here's the thing about it, right? Like, even a horrible episode of Lost is a time well spent. In the same way that I'm sure that you kind of feel similarly with The Nanny. Like, you're like, okay, that was 20 minutes where I had a few jokes.
Like Shopaholic, I didn't enjoy it, but I still enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. You're like, okay, I got an episode of The Nanny. Like, whatever. It's not like
afterwards, I wasn't like, I want my time back. Like, I wasn't like that.
No, if anything, I was like, I think we need to have a more in-depth episode review of this episode, like starting with the audacity that they put this on screen. Like, why?
I don't know. It's just
who approved this? You know, there's like multiple people who must have been like, "That's a good episode. Let's put it for." You know, the actors must have been like, why?" And then there's
this entire episode is an acid trip, basically, and not in like a good way.
Angry, Dylan, that I did not have an edible beforehand.
You should have. I would have loved to see you react to this episode. You would have giggled your ass off.
I already was. Imagine. Oh,
so wait, let's get into the flashbacks because they are some of the dumbest fucking flashbacks.
I fucking hated this. Let's be 100% honest. We're gonna put it right there. I don't give a fucking damn about any of the flashbacks in this episode. I wanted to see the peyote trip that is. I keep saying peyote. I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna call it that.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's like a smoke shack thingy mabob. I don't know what a sweat lodge. That's what it was. Sweat lodge.
Let's actually break that down quickly. I felt really weird about this.
Why?
Because this was very much cultural appropriation put on screen. Like, oh, let's take these elements of native culture, but not taking all the steps that go into it ahead of time.
Yeah, of course.
Like all that kind of stuff. So like that was awkward to watch. And so now I'm also wondering and kind of wondering out loud, am I potentially being somewhat like racist and such right now, calling it peyote? You know, so I'm just putting it out there. I think
it was a sweat lodge. That is what it was.
Sweat lodge, but like, and I don't know what the drug was that he did, but
yeah,
whatever that island was. Regardless, he clearly took some inspiration from native cultures and such. Have you ever done a sweat lodge, Dylan?
I have done a sauna. That's about it. I've done a sweat lodge.
I took a Native American oral traditions course when I was a senior at college, and my professor is half Native American, and so he was teaching this class, and we were learning about various different like major tribes. And part of his class was, if you're interested in a sweat lodge, it takes proper preparation beforehand, both mentally and physically, to get there. And then during your time, it's very physically exhausting, because we had to prep for 5 days before the sweat lodge, where we didn't have like a lot of solid food. It's like you really do like basically starve yourself. So when you get to the sweat lodge portion, like you drink a lot of water the night before and that morning and such, and then you get there and you sweat a lot of that out. Like you're basically getting rid of, like, their thought is like you're getting rid of the rest of the toxins that are really in your body because you haven't put anything else into it, really. So before you even get there, you're exhausted. Your body is in stress. Like, it's like, I'm used to eating and drinking a lot, and now I'm not. Then you get into the sweat lodge, and just like a sauna, you pour more and more like water on. It gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And there's different chants and such in oral traditions that are happening there. And some people, you know, are probably will see things. I did not see anything. I just like felt so exhausted and everything. Yeah. And yeah, you feel ill. Like some people, if you have to take a break and leave, you can, and that kind of thing. So when I was done, then you kind of feast together, right? Like you drink a lot of water, and then you eat a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But you've never felt fresher. I don't know how else to say it. Like, yeah, you're dirty and sweaty and all those different kinds of things, but there's just something about you that just feels so fresh. And so all of that said, I'm watching this episode and I'm going like, I know what they're trying to go for here, but I feel like because they're not portraying it in a way that like it is, it just came across as like really kind of icky to watch, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's lost. There's been worse things.
I know there has been worse things, but it also is one of those things where I'm like, I'm gonna call it out when I see it. And I also was like, you know, when I did it, I'm taking one Native person's perspective and leading us through it. He doesn't speak for all Native nations, let alone all of his, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, so watching that was interesting. Then you have like this whole like trip. So he's seeing Boone, and Boone's kind of taking him through the various different people on the island, and you can't do anything for them, talking about Sawyer, Jack, and Kate. And he's fine on his own, talking about Desmond. And it's like, we didn't need this.
You didn't.
Clearly, the person you needed to save was Echo. I don't know why this was done. Like this.
I don't understand. I also don't understand why Locke is the one that needs to save Echo.
Right. Bitch, you can't even talk.
So here's my theory. After rewatching this, and obviously not spoiling what happens later on, what I think this is showcasing back when I watched it, I think this was my theory also. We are seeing Locke in like top psychosis mode. Like he is like so stressed out and he's lost his way. He's lost his faith. That has caused him to dive even deeper into his faith.
Yeah.
And now we are seeing like not a fanatical Locke, but we are seeing someone who clearly is not thinking
rationally.
Straight. Like he's not thinking rationally. He's making a fucking sweat lodge after fucking surviving an imploding hatch. And
it's just like, why would he not immediately like ask Charlie, where's Echo?
Yeah.
Right.
I love the mindset that like, and I could, this is just, I think this is meant to be like up to interpretation. I think Locke always knew where Echo was and didn't go to save him because of like he was so frazzled. And this was him telling himself, I need to go save Echo. I need to like refocus on what I'm doing. I'm here to go save Echo because I know that he's in distress right now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He didn't know he had been fucking dragged off by a polar bear.
I think Echo was always in that cave.
How?
Because they clearly had dragged a bunch of people in there because there was a bunch of skeletons inside the cave.
Yeah,
so
but the bear did.
That's what I'm saying. Like I what it probably was doing was immobilizing and injuring people, dragging them to that cave and just leaving them there to eat later.
Yeah, I'm just saying that like I don't know that Locke knew that he'd been attacked and dragged there. That's like the last thing that apparently he remembers is that the hatch imploded and that's it.
Yeah.
So, like how would he had known that Echo had been attacked? Also, they were not in the same area because Echo was knocked unconscious from a previous blast before.
That is very true. I forgot about that.
So they were not in the same area when the hatch imploded, he was with Desmond. So my whole point is like, I just don't feel like it makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm like, so, of course. Also, the clues of him finding this like clearly just patch of cotton. It's like supposed to be polar bear fur. What?
They went to Build-A-Bear and they said,
just give me some fill-in.
Give me some of that fill-in and let's just put it out in the jungle. Ooh, it's the polar bear. Like
they really tried. It was so bad. It was so bad. Also, like you haven't seen a polar bear since episode 2 in this entire whole series. And yet all of a sudden we're just finding patches of hair.
What's also weird to me is, so fun fact, in the first season when you see the polar bear, it originally was a puppet. And it did not look good. It looked very bad. In
they did not do much improvement.
Well, and what you saw in season 1 was actually the updated one. They added a CGI bear instead. Okay. I don't understand how they went from it looking decent-ish in the first season to whatever the fuck this was.
To a Chuck E. Cheese animatronic. Like,
the CGI was so bad. And it... I just don't understand it.
It's so bad. It was so bad, Dylan.
Okay, we have to talk about these flashbacks though, because nothing. Okay, when I think of Locke, I think of a man who had been conned, who has gone through some shit. We did not need this weird fucking storyline where after I'm assuming he breaks up with. Yeah. Or when she breaks up with him, he for some reason goes to a fucking farm that's
a weed farm.
Doing weed, like a weed farm. And
like a hippie commune. It's just so weird to me. Like
it's such a weird 360 or 180 for his character.
And then like I don't know. It was so weird. It made no sense. He stops and he like picks up the cop who's undercover. It's just, I don't know.
So what I'm remembering now about season 3, this might not play out for every episode, but I think we're getting to the point in the show where we've seen these characters for so long, it's hard to pepper in new backstory. So what you're going to see in season 3 is very weird, one shot off like off the way side storylines in their flashbacks in order to relate somehow to what's happening in the present. And
but that's the thing. Dylan, can you tell me how the fuck that related to the present?
Sweat Lodge, that's it. That was the only, and to maybe establish why Locke knows how to use guns. Because like his background, he would have no knowledge of how to shoot a gun. And so I think that they have to somehow explain why this man knows how to use like
or does he have like a similar thing to Jack of like feeling he has to save people? Like I don't understand.
I don't get it either.
So weird. Like I just all around was like this felt like the I just said field. This felt like the most discombobulated writers.
Yes.
It really felt like they said, okay, one person, like one group write the backstory, one group write the present story, but don't ever talk to each other and then let's shoot it. Go.
Yes. Very much that. Because outside of a Sweat Lodge, that's the only connection between the two. And
go ahead.
I wanted to say, if I didn't know if you noticed this, Eddie, who is the guy from that flashback, the agent that's trying to bust the weed farm, he is wearing, when he's first introduced, a Geronimo Jackson t-shirt, which is the record that was in season 2 in The Hatch, when they're like flipping through like the records, like, oh, Geronimo Jackson. And you'll see references. So remember when we talked about like the Apollo bar, like the candy bar? Geronimo Jackson is in the same vein, where it is like this made up band, or actually Geronimo Jackson, I think, was a real band. It's a reference. You're going to see them peppered throughout the rest of the show. Same with Apollo bar. And another fun fact is J.J. Abrams Productions, like any of his like movies or television shows, typically features either something that's Geronimo Jackson or Apollo in them, cool. Because of his time on Lost. And it's like always a callback to the show, which is really cool. Yeah.
That's cool. Can I ask, in the same way, you know how we were talking about this with The Nanny this past week, right? Where we felt like, season 1 was about establishing characters. Season 2 is about finding the groove of comedy. Season 3 has been about, okay, now let's make it about Fran dating and them, potentially together and building upon that chemistry, right? Here, it feels like the feeling I'm getting, we're only 4 episodes in, I know. The feeling I'm getting from these first few episodes is we've exhausted what we could do with these first 2 groups. The second season was about introducing new characters with the tail end of the plane. Now we're going to reveal this whole other community, but we don't really know what to do with the current group or like your main.
That's very much what's happening.
So I just kind of feel like, is that a fair assessment of like what we can, okay. So, I think that makes sense. I'm not upset by it. I think it makes sense.
So seasons 1 and 2, or so season 1 is about like just establishing the survivors and having them survive. Mm-hmm. Season 2 is them confronting the others. Season 3 is about them throwing as many mysteries into the show as they can, because they knew that ABC wanted more and more and more seasons of this. Yeah. And the writers were having a tough time figuring out a way to keep the show going. And so this season, you're going to see the weirdest fucking shit that they throw in the show. It does end up paying off in the end. Like, I think like after all 6 seasons, the show is a good wrap up, but season 3 is in this weird spot where it's a lot of people's least favorite season, because you can tell that the first off, let me scroll up. There are 22 episodes in the season. They could have cut half of these out. Like in terms of like, they have great moments in them.
Queens.
Yeah. They have like a lot of great moments in season 3 that are very memorable, that you will always remember. Like when you think of Lost, you'll think of moments in season 3, but it takes so long for it to find its footing. And this is what I tell anyone that's watching Lost. If you want to make it through the show and really enjoy it, you got to focus on the characters and less on the mystery, because the mystery is great and you will get answers to some of your questions, but this is where the show takes kind of a turn and it just starts throwing all the titty pasta on the wall and seeing what sticks. And we're seeing that in these episodes, like an imploding hatch. Will we ever find out what happens? I truly can't remember if we find out what the how they fucking survived that. But like, you're not meant to find out all the answers.
I'll tell you exactly how they survived that. They're in fucking purgatory.
Well, let's take it there. Theories for this, for what do you think happened?
So I feel like you're in a place where there can be a lot of divine intervention of some sorts, right? Because this place clearly doesn't play by the normal rules. We also find out in the second episode that the others, like the station, the Hydra station?
Hydra, yeah.
The Hydra station is on another island. And I still can't remember contextually. I think we're meant to believe from the first episode of season 3 where we see the others see the plane crash that is the same island as the other island. It very well could have been the way that they shot that angle that's a different island.
I will confirm to you that is on the main island.
Okay,
it's in a section of the island they call the crater.
Okay, so that the whole point being, the fact that they had to give special coordinates to Michael and Walt in order to escape and all these other things. I still am convinced that this is some kind of other place. I'm still convinced that, Benjamin Linus was born and grew up on this island, but also understands that there's ways to connect with the outside world. We see that through the Red Sox winning the fucking World Series, but also like through all these other things that they clearly know what's happening in the real world.
Yeah.
But that real world has to be in a slightly different dimension or plane or something. Clearly there are things about this island that don't make sense when it comes to scientific fact, which is why it's the best place to bring things here to experiment on, whether they're people, animals, diseases, blah, 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 because there's like a reset that you can essentially do here. What I'm fascinated by is that apparently this failsafe just kind of ruins the electromagnetic magnetism.
It's like, it diffuses it.
So does this mean, because we see kind of flashbacks to this, Rose is going to die from cancer, Locke is going to be injured again and rendered unable to walk? Like, are these things going to go away from the healing powers of this island? Or is there going to be what I'm calling a divine intervention in some capacity that says, nope, they've done their suffering and healed here. Let's move forward as is. Now, that's not to say that once they leave the island, that stays with them, or if they even leave the island. I don't know. So I just think that's a interesting thing that I'm kind of grappling with both of these episodes.
Yeah. I think, because that is like kind of an outstanding question after these episodes is the healing factor still around? Like,
clearly it was the electromagnetism that was doing it, right? We got that from the flashback of Rose and Bernard when they were to Australia, and he was talking, the guy that they went to was talking about electromagnetism. And maybe that's what the writers were trying to have us believe, but maybe it's really just these other like potentially divine properties of the island.
Maybe
doing it instead of electromagnetism.
So let's move on to this second episode, just because the first episode is so wild. Who's your MVP and LVP for their instructions?
I mean, the episode's so bad, Dylan.
Really
I guess I have to give MVP to Locke, but like also that's just because the writers there's no other choice. Like, who else am I going to fucking choose?
Yeah,
who am I going to choose?
I don't know.
You know what? I'm giving LVP to Charlie because he's fucking annoying. I hate him. So
dude, Charlie is fucking so weird. Just stop being weird.
Oh, I fucking hate you. Sure, I'll follow you. No, I want to go into the bear hole. I'm like, what? Are you? Fuck off. I don't get you. Yeah, also, fuck Claire. Fuck Claire for bringing that fucking creep back into her life. Fuck off. You were so stronger without.
Yeah. You dumb mommy biatch.
fuck Charlie. I'm sorry. If you were at home, I'm staring into the camera at this point. If you were at home and you still love Charlie in 2022, get help.
Tell him. Okay, so let's go over episode 4, which is Every Man for Himself.
Okay.
The Sawyer-centric episode.
Sawyer-centric episode. This had a better
this was
job
a better
of
episode.
Tying the backstory to the present story and all that kind of stuff. And
potentially oh wait, what's wrong, Beth? What's up? She's laughing.
I'm dying. Stop.
Meet me with this. You like this?
I saw a TikTok that was making fun of every man putting on chapstick, and it's exactly what you're doing. It's just
you like that? Oh, my lips are so chappy.
And I literally sat back and I was like, I don't know if guys really do that. And I literally saw that yesterday.
I'm being extra.
Today, like, you're just like, so tell me, Beth, how did you like this episode?
Just putting it on, lathering it on for the girls.
Actually, I'm kind of doing a duck face, and that's not what you were doing. You do this. It's like you make a butthole. Yeah,
you gotta. You should absolutely always make a butthole when you can. The look on your face, I can. Okay. So I think we need to acknowledge something about this episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is the moment, and let's get it on record, where Beth became H word for Sawyer.
I was.
You really were. We went from absolutely fucking hating Sawyer in season 1 to now we are H word growth for his character, not you.
I want you all to no, that's not growth. That's not growth.
For his character? I think his character's grown.
Oh, for his for his character.
I meant his character.
For me as a person, this is depravity. Like, this is bad. I'm a depraved human being.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, and throughout the entirety of the episode, like, as he's getting tortured and the way that he's like dealing with Kate and like all these other things, I'm like, oh, he's so gruff.
He's so gruff.
His eyes, they're just so intense right now.
He's cute.
The way he just did a smirk, called her freckles, it just really did
I was
something
like,
this time.
The way that he fucking grabbed her ass and put a finger in her butthole. I can't say that with a straight face.
The way he said, "Can I suckle on your taint?" Just
to bed. No.
Can I make a really brave?
Be brave.
I'm gonna be really brave right now.
Okay.
I also am crushing on Ben Linus.
Yes! Dude, Ben is such a power player. I love it.
He's the dom top nobody expected, but everybody needs.
Yup. The way that
Sawyer is clearly somebody who pretends to be a dom top, but he's actually a soft top, and that's okay.
For sure.
Ben,
he will throw you over a table and spit on you and not fuck you because he knows that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, he's gonna write all over you. And call you, yeah, he's gonna take a marker and write all over you and call you like his property and like tie you up and be like, "This is my slut."
This is my. Beth has a lot going on, and there's a lot going on that side of the screen. I took it to a place of throw you over a table and not fuck you. You took it to a place of, is this about you now?
I just goose honked straight into but also time out. The best part about that is like not even 2 minutes before this, we kept saying H word and then we're just like fully going into full detail as if we couldn't say horny, but let's just talk about it, shall we? No, so I'm seriously, Dylan, I had a dream the other night and he was a strong, it wasn't a sex dream. He was a strong figure in it. And I was like,
Ben?
Yes.
Yeah. Ben is awesome. Like,
I love that actor though too. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I love him. I'm very happy about his character.
I am now that we're I think further into the season and now we know who Ben is. Ben is one of my favorite characters in Lost.
Yes, as he should be.
Yes. I
Once
just
again,
think
if you like Charlie more than Ben, please write me a 5,000 episode or word essay as to why, because I don't get it.
I'm not saying he's like I'm not saying he's the nicest character, but he's got layers to him, and he's like fascinating as like a character. Like we've seen oh my god, the actor that plays him.
I don't know his name.
I'm gonna find it. His name
Henry Gale.
is no, it's not Henry Gale. Oh my god, why Michael Emerson. So
hi, I'm just gonna say this straight to Michael Emerson right now.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Beth.
And he's left. And he's gone.
Imagine he sees that clip and he's like, I need to go into a witness protection program.
Yeah, so I think there are some things to like about this episode. Like I like that we get to really see more about Sawyer and his development as a character in the show. Yep. He is a much different person than he was in season 2. He cares about Kate and he cares about the people that are like part of this crew. What?
Clementine.
Oh my god, he has a daughter and now he's a DILF. So like we can officially call him a DILF. Yeah, exactly. And I love the fact that every time Jack has been in this show, he's a bitch. Like in this episode, this season, he's been a bitch.
He needed to be a bitch to grow into his full potential as a power bottom someday, but he's not there yet.
He's getting there.
There's a lot that I also questioned about this episode.
Yes. There's a lot that is very like.
So let's start with, he apparently has a pacemaker put in him.
That was so stupid.
So I didn't fall for that for a fucking second. Like, because I'm watching this thinking like all he gets away with is a small incision in this makeshift surgery room. And he had a pacemaker put in. No. Also, I will say that many minus points to Ben Linus for shaking the bunny. I didn't like that.
Yeah, that was mean. I mean, thankfully the bunny didn't actually die, but still.
I don't care. I didn't like the bunny being shaken because I have to imagine that happened in real life. And I feel bad for that bunny because that bunny's not aware of things called acting.
That bunny might be dead now.
Actually, it's pretty that bunny is 100% dead. That bunny if that bunny is still alive, I would like to have it as a guest on the show next week because that bitch is
just shake it again, just to reenact.
Old at this point, like that fucking bunny can drive. But anyway, so first of all, he thinks he has a pacemaker. Then they're like, here we go. We're going to put this watch on you that's going to keep track of your heart rate. And if it goes above, first of all, Ben Linus goes, that means your active heart rate is 140. 140? I can get to 140 watching this show, and I'm not even doing anything. 140?
Sawyer can't do shit.
Sawyer got horny for a second and almost hit 140.
Nearly died.
"Quote unquote." I was hoping he was just, it was going to pan down to his pants and he was going to have a massive erection and then just fucking die.
Could you imagine if that's how they killed him?
I would have been fine with it. I would have been fine with it. I don't care that I was horny for Sawyer this episode. That was so that would have been icing on the cake. I would have been fine with that. In the same way that if Locke had died because the patch imploded, I would have been fine with that too. So anyway, So then they say 140.
Yeah,
So
I'm like,
you're a dumbass if you actually believe that, because you can get to 140 climbing a flight of stairs. Like, I don't know who your active heart.
I mean, let's okay, wait. So we're
I'm
seeing
at 140 right now.
yes, but from his perspective, he has no surgery background, so he has no way of knowing if they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah, I have a surgery background.
You watch that doctor all the time.
Thank you for acknowledging I'm basically a doctor.
Oh my god. So Sawyer has
right now.
so Sawyer has like no background in like medical anything. As he's shown in the past, like in previous seasons. And he has no reason to believe these others because he hasn't seen Jack yet besides having a hood over his head and getting escorted somewhere.
Also,
and so,
he's living in a bear cage, so.
Yes. So like if someone kidnaps me and tells me, hey, I put a pacemaker in you, and if you get to 140, you're going to die, I'm going to believe them. Because
the way I immediately would have started doing jumping jacks, it's not even funny.
Oh my, I would have been like, well, I guess this is my life now until I can figure out.
If you're not going to kill me, I'll fucking kill myself this way. What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
I would have called their bluff so hard.
I will say, though, the reasoning for them doing this is stupid because they're like, we need to con the con man. But I'm like, what was to put him in his place? He's still got now that he knows that he can't believe you. He doesn't need to believe you.
And now we can just fucking talk to Kate.
Yeah. Like you've now showcased that you aren't of your word. And now he has every reason to believe that you're lying now every time that you tell him something.
Exactly. Like, clearly they watched Kate also escape and try to get to him. And now that there's no reason for that, like, what are they going to do? Also, Sawyer's fucking stupid if he still hasn't realized that they can see and hear everything that they're saying.
Yes.
Because they basically admitted to it.
That, and they also blared really loud music from speakers so they knew when they were coming through. So I would have been like, oh, so they have cameras. They clearly know that they're coming through. They're going to blare really loud sounds.
Maybe a product of 2022, but I assume there are cameras literally everywhere.
Same.
So if I'm ever kidnapped, I'm assuming I'm on camera, and I'm always camera ready, baby.
So I need to get your thoughts on two new characters that have been introduced in these 2 episodes. We've got Nikki and we've got Paulo.
Okay.
Nikki and Paulo.
Paulo is literally like the dumbest human being I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's like, let's just shoot golf balls into the ocean and never get them back.
To be fair, it was fruit.
No, they were golf balls, I thought. Were they fruit?
Fruit. They broke apart as they fell, as they went into the air.
Oh, okay. That's
better. I was like, it's kiwi or something like that because it was.
Oh, I didn't hear the kiwi. My bad. Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah. But also people do that in lakes all the time. They like will like on my lake, people will literally there's a golf course, down the road from the lake. But people will literally sit on their docks and hit golf balls into the lake all day. And I'm like, hey, it's pollution.
That's pollution. You go over, you're like in a, like, I imagine you with like a glass of red wine and you're on like a very slow moving paddle boat and you're like, hey, that's pollution. And then you just slowly row away.
I would ever paddle.
No, someone's paddling you. You're in a paddle boat.
Fine.
Yeah. You have someone like literally rowboating or paddle boating you.
What's actually more accurate, and this is not actually a lie at all, is making my cousins / siblings row or kayak while I am in a float tied to it behind it.
I love that. Hey, go faster.
I have said that. I've been like, you know what? I'm not really getting much of a breeze back here, and it would be really nice if we went faster.
Just a little bit. Yeah, Nikki and Paulo, though, I'm gonna be honest.
really
you're
don't
gonna get
remember
more of them.
About them.
You'll see them more. It's so stupid. You're meant to believe that they've been there the whole time. Even though we've never seen them before.
Oh, I thought you meant like story-wise they weren't. And I was like, are they others?
No, we are meant to believe that they were just like extras this whole time and that they're just now starting to have speaking roles. Because what they originally wanted to do with the show was all of those extras, those extra 40 some survivors or whatever, however many there are, they wanted to eventually bring those forward as main characters and filter out the main cast. Because again, they were running out of storylines for some of these characters. You will see how they handle that in this season.
I can't wait.
How they handle that in this season. It is interesting.
It'd be great.
So, okay, in this episode, I have another question for you.
Yes.
So there is this weird moment. So Jack susses out that the real reason why he is there. So he tries to save Colleen. He clearly fails. And he pressures. Good job, Jack. And then he pressures Juliet.
Oh, no. Juliet. Bless you.
Oh, that scared me. Was that your watch?
It just gave me results for Juliet, and that was.
Well, now you have a 140 heart rate.
That fucking bitch just yelled in my ear because I had my wrist up like this, so it just went.
The way you jumped. That was funny.
It was really scary. Okay, so
yes, Juliet.
She was like, yeah, we tried to clear up some of the stuff and like some of the blood. And I was like, honey, your sweet ass time and went all the way down to where Jack that bitch was gonna bleed out. I'm so sorry. Like,
I want to see a behind the scenes shot of her literally shuffling her feet down the hallway, trying to get to Jack's.
I'm gonna just go grab our prisoner. Hold on.
Jack. She's like not even being loud. Jack.
Jack.
She's like not even knocking on the door. She's like,
and then she went. Like, let's be honest. I know that she went and saw Jack with some urgency, but this is also fully what she did. Jack, I have to really ask you a question here. Will you come with me? I need your help. It's an emergency. I was like, yeah, it's an emergency. Just fucking grab him and bring him.
Like, hey, I need you to come here right now.
Have muscle and bring him down there. Like, what the hell? So,
like what if he said no? Like, he's like, no, I'm just gonna chill here.
My other favorite part is that he literally they scrub up as if the other people in the room right now are not literally touching her all over the place. And I'm like, no one's wearing gloves. I don't know what else you want to do here. So they scrub up and they come in there and Jack's like, all right, I'm going to need you to hold this open. Now I know this from Dr. Mike's channel. When you are performing surgery, there are some people, and lots of times it'll be medical students whose full job when their surgery rotation is to literally hold and pull the cavity open. So like it takes a lot of strength, and sometimes you're there holding it for like hours at a time, and it can be like really, really strenuous. So you have to like trade off like every 10 to 15 minutes because people get so fatigued that even if you move it just a little bit, that could be like millimeters could be the reason why a doctor doesn't see something or whatever. Right. So anyway, I'm just sitting there laughing that he's like, Juliet, you have to hold this. And she's like, I don't really want. I'm like, bitch, you just cut this person up. You can't like hold open the cavity. Also, you put cotton inside of her and that didn't even take it out.
Yeah, no, that was polar bear fur that they used. It's different.
It was the same shit.
So, what is your theory on the x-rays that Jack saw where he's like, I'm clearly a spinal surgeon. You kidnap me. There is a tumor on someone's spine based off these x-rays. I'm not stupid. And they kind of cut off there. There's like no more development after that. What do you think? Who do you think that is? What do you think is going to happen?
So I think the obvious writing choice would be Ben Linus.
Okay.
Because in case they had killed him when he came to their compound, it would have been like, well, he was dying anyway. And he hasn't done anything too physical other than when Sawyer tries to electrify him in this episode.
And he beats his ass.
His fucking, that was also, I was horny for Sawyer.
It was hot.
And for Ben Linus in that moment.
I wanted him to fuck. Yeah. I would have been here for that.
So I think that this is whoever Ben is reporting to.
Okay.
Or it could be the guy that Desmond worked with that was like the US military guy that Saeed had been in touch with, because we know that he suffered at least a head injury, but maybe he suffered a brain injury or like a spinal injury as well that they didn't catch for a while. And then maybe there was also some kind of tumor or something that put it in place. I don't know. But that could be also an interesting twist of events, that like this person who maybe like works for Dharma and is maybe in a like more senior position in its own way. I don't know. I feel like the writers want us to believe it's someone like Ben, which makes me say I don't think it's Ben. I think it's got to be somebody else, but I don't think we know who that person is. Okay. I think they're probably somebody who is Dharma related and not necessarily somebody who is like other related. And clearly somebody who means a lot to them, that they would do a lot of this like work to try to break Jack in. But I also am not convinced, like, yeah, I know that they were kind of flustered because they were trying to save, was it Colleen? Was that her name?
Yeah.
They were trying to save Colleen. And so maybe they would have left that up. But I also feel like, I don't think anything's an accident with them. I think that Juliet, maybe not Ben. I think Juliet maybe left them up there on purpose, knowing that she couldn't save Colleen, and use this as an opportunity to potentially tell Jack something without telling him something, in a way that she could get around Ben's eye. So I actually think that's closer to what it really is that we already know that she and Ben do not lead the same way and they don't agree on things, but for whatever reason, even though she's claiming the same thing Ben did, Jack is playing the role of quote unquote Henry Gale and trying to figure out a way to like pin them against each other. I think that Juliet is too smart for that. And I think Ben is too smart for that too. And I think that Juliet is playing in a little bit in order to really play the big game, which is I'm trying to overseed Ben in this moment by subliminally telling Jack something so that it comes across as, oh shit, now I have to play game with him, which is what she's wanted to do from the start, and Dap.
Yeah. Well, that's a very interesting theory. We're going to see if it plays out in these upcoming episodes. Who's your MVP and LVP for Every Man for Himself?
Benjamin Linus is my MVP for sure.
Hell yeah.
So good in this episode. Well, my LVP, besides the theory I just said, I'm going to say that my LVP is... Actually, you know what? I'm changing this. My LVP is Kate.
Okay, why?
Because she is trying to do what she always does, which is run away from a problem. Yeah. And instead of being able to read the body language and understand like, hey, maybe he's not being open about something because it can impact both of us, she's still like, it does like the obvious thing, which is, oh, I'm going to keep badgering him. Something happened to you. You better tell me. You're being held captive. Sometimes you have to like understand that there's things going on that you're going to play victim to. I don't know. I just feel like she's being stupid.
Yeah, she is being kind of dumb in this episode. And your MVP is Sawyer? Ben?
Ben.
Fuck yeah. All right. So we've got coming up next week, episodes 5 and 6.
Yep.
5 is called The Cost of Living. Who do you think it's about? It is an iconic, kind of iconic episode. It's a memorable episode. I'm
trying to think of this. Desmond. I think it's gonna be a Desmond episode.
It is an Echo episode.
Oh, okay, cool. I think like my mind immediately wanted to go to like Juliet or something, but I don't think they're gonna blow their load and like show a backstory so early in the season from one of those people.
I will say I don't like some aspects of this episode, but it is very much a memorable one. Like people will kind of remember this one from season 3. And then the next episode after that is called I Do.
If this is Charlie and Claire marrying each other, I'm going to fucking stop watching. Just putting that out there. I don't think that's what's going to be. Okay. I Do. I'm going to say it's Kate.
You are correct. It is a Kate-centered episode.
It's been a while since we checked in with her, and I feel like it was only about time.
I will say, I'll just say it now. I believe this is back when Kate was married, the flashback. So that's kind of...
That makes sense.
Why it's called I Do. And this episode is also very memorable. I think this, if I'm not mistaken, kicks off the end of the first arc for season 3. Okay. And we finally start getting into new territory with new storylines, finally. But it's going to be a good one. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching this episode of Hot Mess Moments. Forgot to do that at the beginning.
Such a mess, such a moment.
Yes. But if you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us at Hot Mess Moments. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. You can check us out on all of those. A 5-star review on Apple Podcasts helps us out tremendously, and hit that sub button. If you want to watch our video versions of this podcast, which is basically us just staring at our computer screens talking. But you get to see weird shit like Beth gets scared from her watch.
That was scary. That bitch yelled in my ear.
And if you want to follow me and talk about Lost, follow me at 8-Bit Dylan on Twitter.
And if you want to follow me at AugustaWind11, you can talk to me about all things The Nanny. But just remember that we are a spoiler-free podcast. Dylan doesn't want to be spoiled on what happens in the longevity of the run of The Nanny. I definitely don't want to be spoiled on what happens with Lost. And the least we can do is if I can withhold myself from being able to Google everything, then y'all bitches better not spoil it for me either.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm not bitches in like a bad way. I love you all.
I mean it in a bad way. No, but thank you all so much, and we will see you all next Tuesday with some more coverage of The Nanny, and next Thursday with some more coverage of Lost. And until then, stay awesome, stay beautiful, you lovely people. Mwah.
Bye.